Hey Internet. Hey, I wanted to come out in the garage real quick and give you guys an update on our 2004 Mazda RX8, number 78 for Twitchy Racing. As many of you probably know if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, back at the 2015 NASA Fall Finale, car drove great. We had a great weekend. I put the car back in the trailer, brought it home, and it sat on the trailer for a few weeks prior to pulling it off to go get another car. When I went to take it off the trailer, car didn't want to start. Now this car's never had a not starting issue outside of a poor or malfunctioning starter solenoid, so I was a little bit taken back by the fact that the car just cranked and didn't want to start. Being not new to rotary engines, of course, this wasn't a surprise to me, but traditionally this is because I did something stupid with the motor, or I knew that I'd blown a seal prior to putting a car on the trailer. But in this instance, I really didn't have that indication. This car drove great all weekend. It never had anything in the data logs that would have indicated potential failure of the motor. So I did a compression test. I wanted to see, okay, maybe I did lose a seal somewhere. But actually the compression was consistently low. It was 4 to 12 psi, both front and rear rotor, all faces. What that typically means, to me at least, is that the seals or the springs have flattened, or possibly I've chipped an apex seal, or I've chipped all three of them on each rotor, front and rear. Unlikely, but possible, given some of the nature of the ignition and sort that I have in the car. Was a little bit put off by that. Decided, okay, well, it's got 97,000 miles on it. It spent the last 60,000 or so doing nothing but track days and autocross and road rally. So, I mean, needless to say, it has done its job. I'm not upset at the motor. So I went ahead and bought all the parts I needed to refresh the engine. Kind of geared up to go ahead and tear it down and check out what's going on. Was kind of excited to see what had happened to the motor, simply because I really didn't know at the time what would have been the cause. So it's kind of fun to do that investigation. But prior to that, it was really kind of irking me that, it really didn't want to start at all, and there was no indication of it. So I thought it's possible that the seals are actually carbon locked, or that they are just that soft. So I went ahead and reached down to the old bag of tricks and grabbed some MMO, Mystery Marvel Oil, or ATF, as some folks used to use. And I put a few drops in each spark plug hole, front and rear rotor, and rotate the motor over and let it sit. What that does is two things. One, under cranking, the oil is going to force compression. And two, the ATF or the MMO is going to eat any kind of carbon deposits that have wedged themselves between the seals and the springs in the engine. All of this helps everything kind of lubricate and free up and effectively build compression and hopefully start back up. So I did this, first crank, motor starts back up. Truth be told, it hasn't missed a beat in the last week now that I've done this. It started up every day. I'm actually going to do another compression test on it just to see, out of curiosity, where we're standing. I've done compression tests on this motor every year for the last 7 years, so I've got a pretty good record of where it's going. So some of you might be thinking, hey, great, you save doing the rebuild. Don't have to worry about the labor, don't have to worry about the time investment. But the truth of it is, and I think one of the real reasons I wanted to do this video is I wanted to kind of explain to some folks what the MMO and ATF trip really is. It's a cure for a symptom. It's not really the cure for a dead engine. I don't want people to think that you can put ATF or MMO in your rotary motor and drive again for 100,000 more miles. The reality of it is, it's something that is done in a pinch. It's something that's done just to get the car to start back up. But it's really a sign that if you're relying on ATF or MMO due to carbon lock, that either A, you're not driving the car hard enough. If it's a low mileage motor and it sits a lot, you're probably not exceeding 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, and you're allowing carbon to build up in places that it shouldn't be, which isn't most of us. The other side of it is the springs have gotten soft. The actual bits that hold everything together inside the motor have gotten weak and are allowing carbon to get in between places, or get in between the seals and springs in their holding spots, and locking everything in. And that doesn't take a lot of time sitting for that to occur if your springs are weak. And I think that's the case with my particular engine. So that being said, don't use ATF in a street car. It can destroy catalytic converters. It can cause premature wear to any of the rubber bits inside of your rotary motor. It smokes. It can really piss off your neighbors if you live in an area where you have neighbors. Other than that, I'm going to still bring the car in to the garage. I'm going to tear it down, go through everything. The best news for me, at least, is I get to drive this thing into the garage. I don't have to push it. That makes me so happy. I hate pushing cars. And believe it or not, being a rotor guy, I've had to push a car more than once. So that being said, guys, stay tuned. I'm looking forward to giving you guys some good news in a couple weeks with the teardown. You can keep following us online. I'll post pictures up, and I'll probably do some more video just because I enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody back out at the next NASA event. So let me know if you're going to be there. Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks.